Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It is the Uncensored match build-up show. I am Chris Pajak, that there is Ross Chanley, and I am joined by Jay Pearson and Callum Sanderson for this one. Ross, big game. Can we please just win a game of football?
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Just one.
Just put last week behind us and then just stop football. Just like end on a high. Be nice. You said it off camera. If there's going to be a team that we're going to beat, surely it's Sheffield United. I'm not sure whether that was hope.
It's hope.
Yeah. Okay.
At this point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And a lot of praying. And I don't pray. Yeah. But I have prayed.
Yeah. Are you optimistic or you? It's just hope, isn't it?
It's just hope, mate.
Yeah.
I do think we can win. I think we can beat the worst team in the league. I really do believe.
But you also think that we can lose?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, it's where we're at, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just horrible. And like, not only did we get beaten by Everton, but they look like they actually might get this ground the same week. I reckon they've held that just for when they next win a derby to do it in the week. Like, they've actually been able to do this, and they've had the planning permission for 5 years. They've just never beaten us in a derby. Yeah. The plan was always to just release it after they beat us in a derby. And that's why they haven't had that new stadium.
They had the derby knife and the stadium knife, and they just went, better that. Yeah. Just to compound all week. Yeah, and it's all made worse by the fact that, the Henderson injury. For us, good news on 2 parts for Everton, but for us as well, Henderson going off and that is just... said on the Reds News today, it's just at the point of just laughing. Yeah. Klopp said it last week in a press conference when someone on a medical team comes up to him and says there's an injury, he just goes centre back in it, and that's the point that we're at now, which just opens up more questions, makes probably a bit of optimism for Sheffield United, thinking not only have they lost another centre back, they've lost a leader and someone who's dominant and not only can be integral. We saw from the Everton game, kind of trying to dictate play from centre back.
Absolutely. Listen, we've got a super chat from Stro. Our mate Stro is right, lads. Thank you very much. Salute to everyone involved. Salute to you, my friend. Thank you as well for that little PB thing that you sorted me out with, mate. Massively appreciated. Callum, it's Liverpool. It's Sheffield United. Are we going to win a game of football?
I'd like to say yes.
Are you going to, though?
I don't know, Chris. I genuinely don't know. I mean, if you look at how both teams are, like, it's polar opposites to the last season.
Say yes.
Say yes, so we can clip it up when we lose. It's your fault.
I can't say yes right now because I'm dead serious. I'm so nervous about this game. I'm nervous. I am.
It's Sheffield United. They're the worst team in the division. They've only got 11 points all year long, and you can't say that Liverpool are going to win.
I know, but shall I tell you what it is, Chris? Every single team that we've had a hoodoo over this season just smashed out of the park. We're breaking records for all the wrong reasons at the moment. And the fact that Brewster's coming to this game as well is just like, there's a headline already written.
My words.
I'm sorry.
There's no Paul Machin here for the positivity today. Please bring some to the table, Jay. They're bottom of the league.
They are the bottom of the league. So when you're looking at the whole on paper thing, we should be beating. We have got 11 better players than them. But obviously, right, Callum's right. There is an octave. You've got to be quite sceptical because let's look at it last season. We were absolutely flying last season. We were so good. And even when we went to Bramall Lane last year, we still took a really dodgy goal to win the game, and it took a long time coming with the Gini Wijnaldum goal, didn't it? So it wasn't a happy hunting ground then, and we're playing away, and Sheffield United were very good at Anfield. Not even want to talk about that penalty decision anyway, but I am still positive because I just think that the lads have had the biggest kick up the arse by getting beat by Everton at home, and they'll just be going to hit a button, just go, right, we need to go out there and we need to completely just turn our season around, and we've got to start that tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Sunday.
Sunday.
I'm losing my days.
Sorry, we've just had a cracking little chat in here who's from somebody. Let me just find it again. Who was it? Oh, Tom Gilbert says, yes, Callum, I've got the same bed sheets. I love the idea that Callum's lying down on his bed, holding his phone up and doing a show. Please tell me you're lying down on your bed and you've just got your phone suspended above you and you're just the most chill person ever to do a Zoom.
No, I can't say I'm that relaxed. That'd be a lie if I was to say that. But yeah, anyone who's got these bed sheets will know these are legendary.
Brilliant. Go on, Ross. What were you going to say about the footy?
I was just going to counter Jay's optimism, to be honest with you, about this being the game and a kick up the arse to our season. Well, wasn't Aston Villa that? Wasn't Brighton that? Was Burnley not that? I wanted it to be the way around. I wanted Wolves, Tottenham, Leipzig to be the platform that we used. Crystal Palace in there as well to kind of go on and go on a consistent run. You're talking about winning a game of football. I don't want to win one. I want to win the next 4 or 5 games. But I understand the circumstances at the same time, which is why I go, I'm all right with it. I just want to get to the end of the season.
I believe that Liverpool can win this game of football.
I had to,
because Sheffield United are the worst team in the league, and we're bad, but we're not that bad. Yet. Yet. There's still time. If they beat us, that's it.
Oh.
That's it. I mean,
yeah.
We've all got our own channels and shows. Could you imagine if we get beaten again, this time by Sheffield United? They were in the running for genuinely being the worst Premier League side of all time. I think they beat Derby in the end, didn't they? Did Derby have 10 points in that season or whatever? So they did get over the line there. And listen, I know that we've not been exactly great champions. And actually, that pisses me off as well.
Yeah.
Because all this worst champion stuff, right?
Bad champions.
Bad champions, in my eyes, win it by a point or on goal difference. City, I'm looking at you. That's bad champions. Good champions win it with 7 games to go. We're not the worst champions. We were the best champions ever. This season's a different season. We won that league. We battered everybody last season when you had a chance. Yeah. We're the best champions, so fuck off with your worst champions.
You cheat me up for the weekend now. We're going to get a draw.
Yeah, I'd stand up, but I can't be out.
It's ridiculous. What are you saying? It's a different season. You mean, right, okay, you're understanding. What you're saying is you didn't defend it very well. Okay?
That's absolutely spot on. Yeah,
say that.
That's spot on.
Don't call us bad champions. Not on
my
watch.
That also removes the whole context of injuries as well, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Which, I know everyone has. Sheffield United are probably where they are because they're another team suffering with loads of injuries, but they don't get the coverage because they're not
the champions.
Current champions. But they're still suffering from the league, and that's why they are bottom of the table.
Can we have an injury update, Ross? Where are we up to? I mean, it's like it's like looking at that plane thing where all the planes are flying around. I have no idea where anyone's up to at the moment. Some people are insane, and some people have gone to the toilet, and I think they're injured. I don't know what's going on. Is Jota back in training?
Jota's in training.
Yes,
he's been pictured about half an hour ago in training today.
Yes, is half an hour ago, so he could have been injured since.
He also might be a navigator, so he might be in training, but he's not fit yet.
Right.
So there's sorry.
Where are we up to with James Milner?
James Milner, I believe, was also in training today, but we'll question whether he's fit or not. I don't know.
Has Henderson's leg fallen off?
That still remains. He's had a scan. It could be 6 weeks. It could be 3 months.
Was Virgil van Dijk still ridiculously good looking and injured?
Yeah.
It's a fancy
Have you had any
watch.
fresh injuries?
Huh?
Have you had any fresh injuries?
Paul. He's not it.
Paul.
He pulled a sickie, pulled his hammy this morning doing the Reds news, so we had to fucking go off. No idea, mate. It would not surprise me if there was more injuries between now and Sunday.
Centre backs.
Fucking anyone. And I said on the Reds news, I actually flip it round. We're actually dead lucky that one of the front three's not been injured for a long period of time.
Why did you have to say that?
Why would you say that?
Yes, Callum. Which one of the front three has Ross just jinxed?
I don't know, but why would you say
It's
that?
not my fault.
Guys?
There's a lot of sceptical people who'll be out there. Well, they might as well have been injured because they've done fuck all. You can see it now, can't you? You can see people saying that sort of stuff. But
that might get clipped up.
It
might be you.
I've done myself in.
Another no context Jay Pearson clip to do the rounds for the next 4 months.
Why not? It's been 9 months since the last one, so we might as well crack on with that.
Yeah. Is there a chance that we're actually gonna, Jay? Is there a chance that we're gonna mess around with the team a little bit here? Is Divock gonna start?
Oh, the shivers down. I've got the heating on full blast, Chris. So somehow you sent shivers down my spine, and not in the normal way that you do that to me. Yeah, well, you know. Well, he was our plan B, wasn't he, at Bramall Lane last season? And, you know, to be fair to him, did provide the cross for Gini in a certain roundabout way. So we'll let him off that way. So, yeah, I can't see it, mate. I really can't. Especially when the front three are a phenomenal force, and they have been for ages. They just due some goals between the three of them. They due a really good performance, and again, like you said before, Chris, Sheffield are the worst team in the league, and if there's ever a game where the front three can have a bit of mouth watering on, we're going to get some goals, this has got to be the game.
I really hope he's right there, Callum. Do you think before we start talking about the defence and stuff like that, do you think the midfield needs changing for this game?
Yes. It's difficult to say how, though. I mean, I've always been a fan of the double pivot and a number 10 or a goal scoring or creative player behind the front three. I think we are starved a little bit. And if you look at Salah's goals, for example, this season, a lot of them he's actually created for himself. So I think there is some sort of a need for midfielders to start chipping with goals or assists. However, because of the imbalance in defence and the lack of cohesion, it's difficult to change too much in there too soon. So, I mean, you're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. I would change things and I would go for it this game, because if you can't go for it in this game, then you can't in any game in this league. So I would go for a double pivot and someone playing just off the front three.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the defence after the break, though. But before we do, I've got a trivia question for you all. And I expect that Callum will know the answers to this, because Callum has come in here and he's like, now that he's taken over your mantle as the king of the quiz question. I know you didn't have it for long and we actually didn't get around to giving you that mantle. But it's
fine.
Callum's now, okay? Trivia question is this. Name 3 Liverpool and Welsh international forwards who also played for Sheffield United.
Ooh.
Name 3 Liverpool and Welsh international forwards who played for Sheffield United. And we are going to go to a quick advert breakdown. This one's a little bit about Bobby Firmino from Ben Kelly, who's doing the stats and tactics show. It's absolutely superb on the redmentv.com. If you want to sign up, then go over to www.theredmentv.com.
He is playing as a midfielder, so I think it's worth looking into, because in terms of the work rate that you do get from him, because he is really good at closing down and doing all that. Right now, imagine a midfield three of, okay, keep Thiago in, Henderson, or can I find Fabinho dead quickly? I can, and he's got a magnet result. If I do that, what? Is that the worst idea at the moment? I don't know. And I think with the way that we're lacking goals right now, from a number 9, across the board, but also from Firmino in particular, I think you could maybe do a lot worse at the moment. Maybe he just becomes, the Gini Wijnaldum replacement. Maybe that's what he ends up being. I know that we've been linked with other midfielders this summer, but if you think about actually what both players are good at, they're not too, dissimilar. Even Wijnaldum, when he's given the license with Holland to go up, go further forward and play in that more, attacking midfielder role, he gets a lot of goals as well. So, they're not really two dissimilar players. And, Firmino dropping into midfield there, breaking the play up in there, and then also having that, experience as a forward to break these lines and again, still be able to do what he does, creating chances for Mane and Salah. I don't think it's a bad idea. And then obviously on top of these midfielders, you've got Thiago, you've got Keita, you've got Chamberlain. If they can stay fit, it's the same old story with those players. But it just provides you with another option. And particularly if you get Jota back and you have a more prolific number 9, I think that really could be an interesting avenue for the team to explore. Don't think it'll happen. I don't think Jurgen will do that. I don't think he'll quite change Firmino's role that drastically, but I think essentially right now that's what he's doing anyway when you look at his heat maps, so we'll see.
Okay, we are back. Thank you very much for that, and as I say, do go over to the redmentv.com, check that show out. It is part and parcel of our streaming service where you can get final word shows, red news roundup around the leagues, and documentaries and stuff as well. It's all part and parcel of it, so go over there and join up if you haven't already. Thank you very much. The trivia question was this: name 3 Liverpool and Welsh international forwards who also played for Sheffield United. Now, we've got one guy in break who said he's got the answer. I've left my phone open on the table, so Ross may have the answer too.
Did not get onto that.
Which means, Callum, what do you think the answer is?
I've only got 2 out of 3. I've got Dean Saunders and Ben Woodburn.
Correct.
Can't
Ross
remember
for the points. And the mantle, Ross?
I have no fucking clue.
Go on.
They're the 2 that I had as well.
Oh, yeah. Go on.
They're the 2 that I got, but the other one is Ian Rush.
Correct answer.
Ian Rush.
did in fact play for Sheffield United. And there's only one man in the entire world who knew the answer to that, and his name is Jay Pearson. Jay Pearson, the mantle. It's back with you, mate. Callum, loser. Anyway, Trig Josh, Super Chat came in. Thank you so much, Trig. No right to reply there, Carl. Sorry, mate. You get that on yours, on Team Coppish, but not on Redmen TV. Do you think Klopp can recover, and do you think FSG will fund a rebuild, Ross? Will Klopp recover?
Yeah, of course he will.
Do you think FSG will fund a rebuild? And do you think they need to?
Klopp will recover when his players recover, in my opinion. And on the rebuild stuff, I don't think the rebuild is as extreme as people are making out. I think it feels like that because we don't have that depth right now. But again, once the players come back and you're looking at who you've got, then it's a question of, are we going into the summer to buy people that are challenging the 11, or are we going into the summer to improve what's on the bench? Because that's part of the problem that we've got now. We've lost those main players. Now we're putting together people that you use for the bench, or might not even make the bench.
We're putting out FA Cup sides every week.
Yeah, basically. And you shouldn't rely on those players. It's not fair on Curtis Jones, James Mills to be running our midfield, our engine in our side, equally the defence of, fucking whoever's left at this point, asking them to go week in, week out. So, and you're looking at people like Chamberlain, Keita, they need to step up. Divock Origi, we spoke about, needs to step up. And if they don't, in my opinion, then, a few, if not all of those players and some more need to be replaced. Or is it also depends on who's going out. If one of the front three does go, you need someone else to replace them. They're getting on a bit. Do you need someone else to come in and challenge them? Jota might be that person. I think Jota was supposed to be that person, by the way, but you need someone else. So rebuild's a big word. It feels like a rebuild seems to be like it's a clean slate, whole new 11. Whereas I think we definitely need 3-4 big signings for me. Okay,
Callum, what do you reckon to that, mate? Do you think they'll rebuild?
Yeah, so I've got all the faith in the world in Klopp. I've already had a rant about FSG, so I'm not going to go and often do that again. But a rebuild is a tough one because it depends on, it's so subjective because some will say a rebuild is 3 players, others will say it's 6 or 7. I think genuinely we need 4 top quality players in the summer, and I think 2 of those need to be starting 11 players, and the 2 need to be a centre forward and a centre back need to be starters, and then the other 2 players, for me, should be squad players. But I think we need 4 top quality signings minimum in the summer.
Can you go into the FSG stuff, Cal?
Yeah, I mean, where do I start? I just think FSG have done a lot of good in getting us to where we are now. So the model that they've used is a sell to buy model, which I think when you're building, considering where we've come from under Hicks and Gillette, I think it works fine. Again, it could be tweaked here and there, but on the whole, it's worked. As we've seen, we've got to the pinnacle of the Champions League. We've got to the pinnacle of the Premier League. However, to stay on top, when you're competing against the likes of Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, and Tottenham, who are all outspending you, I think the model needs to be more adaptable. And I think the problem we've had is we're very rigid in how we've treated our transfer policies. And I think we missed a massive trick after the Champions League final. I think a lot of people speak about last summer, but the Champions League final where we won it, I think that summer right there, we didn't capitalise on a lot of things. I think we should have given Gini a new contract then, as opposed to drag it out to now. I think we should have cashed in on Lovren then, and also brought in a centre-back then, as opposed to just last season. And I also think Moreno should have been replaced by a Tsimikas type player that summer, as opposed to this summer. I think if we had done those in that window, then the summer just gone, I think we could have focused on other areas of the squad. I think January really peed me off, if I'm going to be honest, just the way it happened. I think you're relying on players like Matip and Gomez, who, as brilliant as they are, we all know their injury record. So to expect them to be injury-free for the rest of the season, especially Matip, for me was crazy. And it put the club in a position that we didn't need to be in. And now we're fighting for top 4 as opposed to fighting for the league. And I think that comes down to the owners. However, I do think Klopp and the players do get a percentage of the blame as well, though.
That's interesting. I don't speak to many people who have that sort of viewpoint, to be honest, on FSG, so it's always interesting for me to hear it from somebody.
It's nice to have a conversation about it rather than someone just kind of... It's hard to disagree with some of the points that he makes, and people make it out to be so black and white of you're either one or the other, but there's a middle ground of where you can accept someone Callum's point. You don't have to agree with all of them, but what you're saying is
Yeah.
I can agree with some of what he's saying because it makes logical sense of the way of kind of doing things. I think a lot of things people don't talk about is where we missed out on the Champions League, and then we spent big on Virgil, we spent big on a goalkeeper, we spent big on Fabinho, we spent big on Keita. When the funds weren't necessarily there, you spread them over the couple of years, and I'm not defending, by the way, because I do agree with what he's saying. But there's an overall plan, isn't there? And I think it's hard when you're seeing other teams outspend you, and you're thinking, well, fucking hell, how can they do that? Where Liverpool Football Club, it's the fear of what's happened, of missing out on another title and capitalising on being champions. Yeah. So, and the other thing that goes without saying is people that argue with in or out or whatever it is. Look, we all want Liverpool to be successful. We all want to win things. If you're FSG out, you're not wrong. If I'm FSG in, I'm not wrong. Because what do we all want at the end? We all want to win fucking trophies. We'll support the same team.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think, I was sat here a long time ago at the beginning of this season saying, or certainly when Virgil goes down, you don't piss away a season where you can win the league. Yeah. And that's what it felt like Liverpool have done this season for me, is you get a 4-year window. Before Carragher was saying all this about your 3-4 year windows, by the way, where this team, looking at the age of the players, we're going to have 4 years where they can challenge for the league title. Yeah. And you've pissed one of them away. Yeah. And it doesn't come round often enough for you to be able to just piss one away every now and again. So it annoys me. And yet I can still sit here and tell you that I genuinely do think that FSG have been good owners of Liverpool. I think they've made mistakes. Yeah. I think we've pulled them on a lot of their mistakes. The 77 ticket prices, all that type of stuff. Like, the furloughing of the staff, completely against what this club stands for to me. I also am kind of understanding, and I'm not saying that I don't want people to agree with me on this, but I also feel that because they are quite conservative owners, and they are, tight with their money and all that type of stuff, that I can understand how COVID may have scared them into making the wrong decisions.
Or even the early days of when they were spunking £35 million on Andy Carroll, and, signs that just fucking didn't work out. Spending money on players isn't everything. We've seen that with certain signings, I get that, but buying someone for £80 million, Man United can say this isn't going to guarantee you fucking success, because they've had the fingers burnt. So, but I do fully agree on the centre-back thing, because I'm adamant, had Matip not got injured the day before the window shut, Liverpool would have carried on with that.
Yeah, they would have.
Him.
They would have, and that feels
that feels negligent to me. Yeah. So had he got injured the day after when we had a game then, City probably wouldn't have kept back. We might have one or the other, but not two. And now we're in a situation where Henderson's injured as well. So
that's the thing, isn't it? I think they've managed this window terribly, and they've managed, and all that type of stuff. But Jay, you've been sat and you've been listening for quite some time. Do you want to weigh in on this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I was totally on the side of, before the January transfer window, that, again, like FSG had done a fantastic job. I think we've still got an 11. When you look at our 11, it's still one of the best in the world. And it's been proved that for the last couple of years. But like I said, the squad depth isn't there. As like Ross said, it does show up in these types of circumstances. So I do think we were very negligent in the January transfer window, when we've known for a long time, since the beginning of the season, when Van Dijk got injured at Goodison Park, that we needed another centre-half. When it was all the talk for the following summer is we were going to get a big centre-half and that main partner for Van Dijk, because God bless Joe Gomez, we all know he does a good job for us, but at the end of the day, he's very injury-prone. But you are right, Chris, it has been very negligent of what's gone on in the January transfer window, and it has sort of derailed us quite a lot. We all thought it was a blip, didn't we, towards in December? And it's just gone into maybe it's a mini crisis. I don't know. There's loads of different labels you can put on it. I think overall, given what we've all put up with the age of that we are in the Premier League era, I think FSG have done a fantastic job of what they've done with this football club. They've delivered a league title and a Champions League trophy, the two biggest things that we wanted. You look back to when they first took over and we were 3 days away from administration. So that is a massive turnaround in a short space of time. And given what they did for the Red Sox, it's very similar. They waited a long time before they won a World Series, and then they've delivered 4. Yes, they're in the same position, though, because there are years where the Red Sox should have won another World Series title, and they didn't because FSG were a bit negligent there. I think maybe Liverpool are a bit involved in that as well, because FSG put some money into Liverpool than what Red Sox fans, I think they should have put into the Boston Red Sox. So it goes hand in hand, isn't it? Because we just see the tunnel vision of Liverpool. We don't understand what other sports ventures they've got. We just got that tunnel vision, and it is one big entity at the end of the day, isn't it? And we can't compete with the oil money. We can't unless we get someone who buys FSG out. But I think overall, you've got to be pretty satisfied the way the last 10 years has gone. But you are absolutely spot on. This year is a missed opportunity, because a football team's like a house of cards. You take one out and they're all going to crumble if they're that important to you. You take out your centre halves, Your wing backs can't go forward as much because they've got to be quite reserved in defence. That has been evident this year with Trent and Robbo. You take out the dynamic of the midfield, which means we lose that sort of what Fabinho and Hendo are so good at winning the ball back and turning defence into attack for the front three. And there's been a lot more work to be done by the rest of the players. And I think if we did have that 11, we'd be having no problems. We'd be sat here, challenging for the title and being quite happy. But I think definitely in the summer, then the owners need to wake up and go, listen, we need to start looking at our overall squad now and having those players that if we do get a major injury, such as Van Dijk, again, touch wood, that never happens, or we do get a major injury to another starting 11, then we need to have that like-for-like replacement just as City have for years to come.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Callum, just on you then. I think, I think obviously you've been probably the most vocal, you're probably most against FSG out of the four of us that are having this conversation here. What do FSG need to do for you to be bought into FSG?
That's actually a really tough question. Again, so for me, the way I kind of compare owners to an extent to how I'd look at a player. So Simon Mignolet, for example, he did well for us, but we all knew we got to a point where he was never going to be the goalkeeper that leads us to a Premier League trophy or a Champions League winners trophy. So we had to go out and get someone better in Alisson. I look at the owners like that. I'm not going to sit here and say I hate the owners or anything like that. And I know it's not as easy as just clicking your fingers and getting new owners, but I feel as though if they can't compete with our competitors, because that's what we have to look at ultimately, it's our competitors. They can't compete with them. And again, I'm not saying I want 300 million or someone like Pep Guardiola, but if Klopp needs to go out and get a couple of players to bolster the squad every summer, I think that should be there. And the reason why I think, especially for someone like Klopp, because Klopp has proven, whether it be at Mainz, Borussia Dortmund or Liverpool, if you give him funds, he's responsible with it. He's not just going to go and buy the most expensive player for the sake of it. He will go and buy the best fit, whether that person costs 8 million like Robbo or 75 million like Virgil. So for me, it's having a trust in the manager. You brought in the manager. You brought in the best manager in the world, in my opinion. If he says he needs something, he's not just going to say it for the sake of it. Klopp's not a spoiled brat. We've seen him when Moreno wasn't good enough. He played Milner left back instead of going out and saying, I need another left back. So we know he can do that for us. But if he's saying, look, I need this player because I want to achieve this, for me, it has to be done. You have to find a way to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry to just wade in there on that one. Sorry, Chris. Let's not forget Klopp is the main reason that this has all happened at the end of the day. FSG can say, yes, we've provided the funds and stuff like that. But if you provide the same funds to a different manager, does the league title happen? Does the Champions League happen? It probably doesn't. And that's where we've got to respect the fact that Klopp has been the main reason why we've had this success. It's not FSG. Let's at the end of the day, they've had the funds, but if you put those funds to a different manager, the success probably doesn't happen. That's why FSG are very, very lucky to have Jurgen Klopp as their manager. No,
they absolutely are, but they chose him at the same point, didn't they? And I don't want to come across like I'm pure FSG in, because I think I'm probably more in like in the grey area, in the middle, and I always sort of fall in the middle on things nowadays. The older I get, I find it very difficult to go one side or the other, to be honest with you, because like there are things in my life where, trust me, I am very left, and that's politics and stuff like that. But on everything else, I find myself middling out and being able to see both sides of an argument more than I used to. When I was younger, I can guarantee I'd be well more like Callum. I'd be like over that side, going, these aren't given enough money and all that type of stuff. But like I asked the question, Callum, not to set you up in any way, and please don't take it like that.
No,
but like, would you actually be happy, and would you take Klopp on his word that they were the players that he wanted? And do you think a lot of people would, or do you need to see £100 million player for you to be satisfied? And it's just a genuine question because I don't understand your arguments.
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris, if I'm going to be honest. It's difficult to stay with Klopp, and one of the reasons I love Klopp is that if he was having a massive argument with FSG behind the scenes, he'd never come out and publicly say it, which is what I love about the club and what I love about Klopp. So we'll never know in that essence. However, if we went out and spent £32 million on 4 players, but they were the 4 players that Klopp definitely wanted in, they improved the squad, I don't have an issue with that. Like in the summer, the happiest signing I was with was Thiago, and he cost 25 million. So for me, it's never been about the money. It's about the quality of player we're bringing in. So if we can go and get players who are of high quality and we don't have to spend that much, then that's absolutely fair enough. But unfortunately, because we are kind of in a position where we are one of Europe's elite. So when you go and improve Europe's elite, you've got to spend, in my opinion, big money to make that happen. Not all the time, because Thiago, for me, has improved the 11 and we didn't have to spend big money on him. But it's not all the time we're going to find a world-class player who's got a year left on their contract. So sometimes you've got to spend a bit more than you usually would.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, interesting. Let's get back to the game. That was really interesting. Thanks for diving into that with us, mate.
Just buying that. I think it was you who coined the phrase, I'm not FSG in and I'm not FSG out, I'm FSG sort it out.
Yeah, maybe. It sounds like something that I fucking said, to be honest with you. I say that much shit. I mean, Jay was telling me one that I said last night on a show with some South African football fans and stuff. I didn't even remember saying it, to be honest with you. I don't think about
There'll be a
what
book
I'm
at the
saying.
end. We'll just make a book of all Chris Pajak sayings. We'll put it on the Redmen TV.
Pajakisms.
We can probably put it on, one scrap of A4 paper. I talk that much bit. Anyway, we are here, and Ross, let's talk about the centre back partnership for this game. Then let's leave the FSG chat to one side. Kabak plus who for this one?
Whoever's fit, Chris. At that point, it's difficult because the key words that have come out the past couple of weeks is consistency, and that's what we've struggled with. And I said the other week in a tweet, if we don't get consistent starting 11, we won't get consistent results. Now that's all gone out the window because Henderson's injured, so it's Kabak plus someone else. Now the big question is, if Fabinho's fit, does he go back in there, or do you need him for your midfield? I don't know where I stand on that argument, to be perfectly honest. Mm-hmm. Or is this the point where you go with Sheffield United, Phillips, or Davies? So, which is fine for this game, and it's fine in games in isolation, but then you're looking at Chelsea and Leipzig coming up in the next few weeks as well. Is that the centre-back partnership that you want for those games? Is that consistent? Can you have Kabak and Phillips for one, or Kabak and Davies for one game, then change it again? I want consistency, but I don't know what the answer to that is. I know it's a cop-out, but if Jurgen Klopp says he wants Fabinho in there, I'm fine with that because of the games we've got coming up, and I think there's Fulham further down the road as well. You think you could do Phillips in that game as well? But it's a poison chalice. That's centre-back partnership at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? Like, to be honest with you, I think for me, I'm like, look, Kabak's going to start. I would probably have Ben Davies starting. Okay. And just have the two of them. It's against the worst team in the league. I can't stress that enough for everybody right now. The fact of the matter for me is this: if you can't blood a new centre-back pairing, and we've blood many new centre-back pairings this year, in against Sheffield United, when are you going to be able to play Ben Davies and Kabak together? Yeah. Like, there's just not going to be an opportunity that's better than this.
Or is Phillips a shout with that physicality of a Sheffield United?
Phillips done nothing wrong. Yeah. You're absolutely right. He's done nothing wrong, but I think there is a ceiling to what he can do as a centre-back for Liverpool.
Which
I think
is why Davies
might be a better option for us in that regard. So, yeah, it's really interesting for me, and I think, I like the point you made, Ross, there about Fabinho being in the midfield. I think we need that steel in front of the midfield right now.
Yeah. I think it gives license to the rest of the midfield to help out with the forwards and it always moves their job. Then you've got that layer of protection for the centre halves as well. Fabinho's well experienced in that centre half position. I would part of me wants to see him in there. It's just us just winging this right now, isn't it? But yeah, that steel, and that almost allows the fullbacks to go forwards. And we've referenced it several times. That thing that Match of the Day did when Henderson midfield, Robert goes forward or Trent goes forward, Henderson slips back into the defence. We could have that with Fabinho, and at that point you still got a DM / centre back who's giving protection to those and allowing the fullbacks to kind of go forward, whilst at the same time being the most experienced centre back at Liverpool Football Club, helping out Davies and Kabak or whoever's going to be there.
I mean, the FSG chat was incredibly interesting. So interesting that the lads have just got off on us.
All right, okay.
So it's just me and you for right now anyway, mate.
Okay.
Gini Wijnaldum's an interesting one, is it? Because he's likely to be the captain in the game. Ross, is there any... Would you give it to Gini? Would you give it to Trent Alexander-Arnold after his performances over the last few weeks? Is he ready yet to captain Liverpool Football Club on a consistent basis?
I think that's a problem. That wouldn't be on a consistent basis either, would it, until bodies start coming back. And I think Jurgen Klopp... I know you asked what I do, but obviously Jurgen Klopp doesn't do that. He gives it to whoever's got the most experience, which is Gini Wijnaldum. But maybe, again, we discussed this on the Reds News today. Funnily enough, Emma gave the shout of you giving it to Mo Salah.
Oh, interesting.
Which I can partly see. You can sort of see the stuff with Trent as well. But, Trent being one of the only people in the derby game who wanted to take the game by the scruff of the neck and do something and produce. There's different types of captains. Mm-hmm. There's the vocal leaders, the people that do it on performance, which I think Trent does. Gerrard was kind of on performances rather than being kind of vocal because he had character to back him up. But that's the other loss with Jordan Henderson. And it'd be interesting if James Milner plays. That experience, that authority, that ability to lead, you need that. Can Trent do that? Possibly. Can Gini do that? I don't know.
I don't mind Gini being the captain for us. I think, Gini Wijnaldum is Gini Wijnaldum. We know exactly how good Gini Wijnaldum is and we know what he can do. But as a 6, he's not as integral. He's not as influential, is he? For me anyway. So I'd be looking at I want Gini Wijnaldum back in the 8. I want Fabinho back in the 6. I don't care who's the captain. I don't think Klopp really cares who's the captain is. But for me, I'm looking at it going, yeah, you know what? Gini Wijnaldum's probably going to be the captain this week. And is there anything else that you do? I think obviously we know that Oxlade-Chamberlain's been back in training for a little while now, Ross. We know that Naby Keita's back in contention. Now, there's a part of me that says, just throw Naby in.
Yeah.
But also, he's been out for a long time, hasn't he? I mean, is it just 20 minutes at the end of the game if it's going your way?
Yeah, it is for me. And that's. And how many of them do you think you'd actually bring on? I had 2. I think it was 2, maybe even 3. Did say he can come on and kind of either change the game or bring something to the game and contribute. Having Naby Keita back, having Oxlade-Chamberlain back, or getting him up to speed and getting him minutes allows you to do that going forward. I don't think you should need it against Sheffield United. In terms of the other day, we should go 5 at the back. I don't know how that works when there's only 3 centre halves.
We haven't got enough centre backs for that, surely.
Yeah, the diamond formation, the double pivot, which Callum mentioned before. But it all relies on the bodies that you got back and what you can do with it. So it's all right saying have a double pivot, but if you got two DMs that can play that game, possibly I'd finish 3 points.
I'm trying to get onto the new link on this computer.
I was talking about variations in changing formation also dictates on the bodies that you got available.
Yeah.
So like Callum said, it's fine. The double pivot he likes. Well, that's fine if Fabinho's back and you've got Gini Wijnaldum to do that job. Then you've got it. But if they're not there, there's no point in changing the system, or it's difficult. It's good that we've had a week off. Basically to if we've got to change something or implement something different, then we potentially got that choice more than most. But then what on next week when we play Leipzig, are we going back to what we know?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Welcome back, lads.
Wow, that was insanely difficult, lads. Thank you very much for being bullied. Just being in there and you're all going hard on me and all this.
Not FSG out, Callum Sanderson out at this point.
It is. We're having a good little discussion about the midfield, and we've talked a little bit about the captains, gents. And who we think might be captain for this game. I think we've come to the conclusion that, the likelihood is it's probably going to be Gini Wijnaldum. And then we started talking about centre-backs. So I'll be interested, actually, to get your opinions on it. I think I want to see Ben Davies and Kabak play together for this one. Jay, would you like to see that and Fabinho back in the midfield if he's fit and available?
Absolutely. I think what Ross said, before he said he wants a bit of consistency, and that side. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that at the minute, are we? In terms of wanting to have the warm up for the Leipzig game. Davies hasn't come from a crap league, has he? The Championship's a tough physical league at the end of the day. So we know he could probably do a job, and he's playing English opposition, and he'll know what the game's about and stuff. And I would like to see that partnership. I think a lot of people, when it happen now, is it's left us out there. So I'd absolutely love to see Davies and Kabak play. There's this point, mate. Just get Fabinho back in midfield because we are missing that element.
The worst team in the league. If we genuinely can't blood this new centre-back partnership in against Sheffield United, who are we going to be able to do this against, Callum?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So I think I'm with you guys on this. When it comes to Davies, I think if you can't play him in this game, then you can't throw him in any game. I think...
Yeah.
I mean, with all due respect to Sheffield United, they are pretty much a championship team at the moment, playing in the Premier League team. Playing in Premiership. So I think I'd like to see the balance. The wings on the left-hand side potentially make us move the ball quicker. I think Kabak's done pretty well since he's been in. I know a lot of people criticised him, but for a guy who's 20 years old coming to a brand new league with a lot of pressure on him to fill these voids, I think he's done well so far. So I think we have to go with that. I do think Nat Phillips is a bit unlucky because I don't think he's put much of a foot wrong since he's been in the team either. But I think we need to see Davies and Kabak given a run and see how it works out. But definitely Fabinho in midfield.
Just on that captain stuff that we were kind of talking about before, I don't think it's necessarily who's got the armband. Now we're looking at people to step up in this game. Mm-hmm. So, you've lost Henderson, you've lost Milner, and we're talking about the experience and leadership within that side before. Obviously, Van Dijk is probably the other one. Gini will be the nominated captain, but I'm looking at people in that squad now to go, well, there's no Jordan Henderson to be barking orders because, we all love the social clips of watching that and see what he brings to this team. Someone in that side needs to step up and take that role for me. and start, whether it's agreed on within the team or someone just does it naturally and say, like, listen, lads, leadership in that team to take us forward, and not just this game. Someone needs to step up and take that role for the next couple of weeks for me.
That's it. But who is that? Who is that leadership? I mean, James Milner can come back in, Jay, but...
Well, for me, he's captain of Scotland. At the end of the day, I think someone probably in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's the only main captain of his country that we've got in our current starting 11. With Van Dijk being out, I think he might be. So if he's anybody to take on that mantle, he's the guy to do it. And we all know his personality, the way he is on the football pitch, and he can be vocal himself. We all know how good he is, especially when he's looking after his teammates and stuff like that against the opposition. For me, it's Andy Robbo to definitely be one of those people who are more vocal. Anyway. Absolutely. But could you imagine Mo Salah barking orders at someone? I couldn't. No. It's just dead nice, isn't he? He's such a sound fella.
Nice. Until you get the ball at his feet in the penalty area, and then he's the biggest prick on the planet. And he's not going to pass to you because he wants to score his goals and win another golden boot. But that is just who Mohamed Salah is, isn't it? Let's take a little look around some of the other fixtures then. Saturday, City, West Ham. Can City do us a favour here? Is this what we go away, West Ham? I am fed up of having to look out for your fixtures. Just go away. I don't need you in my life. Like, just, what are you? Go away. I hate you. I don't want to look after your fixtures and see you winning games of football and you're genuinely better than us. Just go away. I'm going to cry. Anyway, thanks.
Good hope for a draw in that one.
They just need to go away. Leeds have got to do Villa a favour. Leicester, Arsenal. Thanks, Leicester. They're going to get 3 points. Nice one, Arsenal. Don't never do anyone a favour. Spurs, Burnley, Chelsea, United. That's a big one, isn't it, Ross?
Yeah, interesting. There's lots of big games around us these days. Spent most of last season going, rival fixtures? Nah, there is none.
There's none.
No.
Now every team in the league is one of our rivals.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yeah. So what we could do is just hope for loads of draws, because the fixtures recently have gone our way. But this time when we're playing last on a Sunday, it's actually finished the fucking job and win a game of football.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Do you think Liverpool can beat Sheffield United, Ross?
Yeah, of course. Of course he can beat them, Chris. Do I think they will? I don't know.
They will.
Yeah.
What's the score prediction?
1-0.
1-0. Wow. Okay.
I think I'd just fucking say go 1-0. Yeah. Just do win.
A last minute of 1-0. Some kind of. Jay, what's your score prediction, mate?
1-0, and I would take a Gino Wijnaldum volley, and then the keeper spills it into his own net. I'd take that because that's never happened before at Bramall Lane.
I'll take that again. Mate. Fucking anything.
I'll take that again.
Yeah. Callum, what do you think the score will be?
You guys are going to hate me, and I hate myself for saying this. I'm going to go 1-1.
Oh my days!
I know.
The look I got last week for predicting a draw in the derby, and I was closer than everybody else, by the way. And you genuinely, really 1-1.
It hurts me to say that. It really does. It breaks my heart to say that.
It hurts me too, Carl.
Good luck with the new job, mate. Thanks for coming on the show.
I can't believe it. I think it's going to be 3-1 to Liverpool because we can't go.
Love that, Chris. Love that.
And I think Mo Salah's going to get a hat trick.
Oh, fucking love that. Let's have some of that. Come on, let's have some of that. Let's have some of that. Come on. I'm up for that. Positivity.
He's right. Come on, Liverpool. 3-1. Sheffield United, bottom of the table. This is it. We're on the run for 4th place. Woohoo! Oh man, how times have changed.
At the end of the day,
before we go, I just want to say massive thank you to Jay, of course, from Cop Bite Off, Callum Sander from Team Coppish. Go and check out both of their channels on YouTube, both doing good stuff at the moment. Gents, thanks very much. Ross, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for holding that one together with me while I messed around, tried to get the link back up on the wrong computer, which was quite fun, and then I had to just basically call Si, come and sort this out for me now, man. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. We're going to end on an advert for our Beers of Anfield Road merchandise. It's a collaboration with the Beers of Anfield Road. You can get these wonderful, wonderful beer mats. I'm going to do the advert because we haven't got the video lines up. You can get these wonderful, wonderful beer mats. Right? And this fantastic shirt from the redmentv.com. If you go onto the redmentv.com and you click shop, then you will get over there. That is the end of the show. What an absolute shit show. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. And I'll see you next time. Ta-ra.
Thank you so much for watching the Redmen TV YouTube channel. Everything we do here is funded by our wonderful subscribers to the redmentv.com. Get over there, sign up and get amazing additional content, interviews, documentaries, mini-series, and of course additional pre and post match day content.